full this high def 1080i.
Well, get your lizard face off
This
too.
is the United Public Radio Network, 107.7 FM in New Orleans and 105.3 in the Gulf Coast. UPRN talkradio.com. Esoteric programming at its finest.
Or symbol.
Hi, I'm Brittany Ashley, your host of Breaking Norms Building Dreams, your guide through this transformative journey in both business and life. This is your place crafted for dreamers.
Okay, what's going on here?
Don't know.
All right, that was weird. Sorry, ladies. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting double weird feedback on. I'll be right, John.
Okay, well, here we go. This is the Writers of the Future show featuring Writers of the Future. If you haven't gotten your copy yet, it's Writers of the Future Volume 41. Just issued. We got 12 new writers, 12 artists were featured in here. When it released, we hit #1 on Amazon for anthologies, for ebooks, for this trade paperback, and for the audiobook. So there's a reason why it hit #1 in all three of those, and it stayed there for 8 days. So now that Joe's back, he can tell you also why you need to buy this book.
Yes. Did you see it's right there? It's where it's at. It's been there since it came in. That's where it's been since I got home.
And I got a box of books being shipped to you so you can use those for giveaways too. So that'll be 10 books you got.
Oh, people, y'all know we're going to give some books away. So what are you talking about? Do you mean this one? I will give this one. I'm going to give this one away at Christmas. So I'm going to do something special this year. It's going to break my heart to do this, but I'm going to do this. So I've got sets of books from going down for the last 6 years with these guys. Now there's some that are personally made to me, so those are not going anywhere. They're going to be put on my shelf over there where they belong. But I do have one of every one with everyone's autographs on it, judges, winners, everything. So I don't usually give these away. I usually keep these for myself. You got to remember, I had hurricane floods. I like everything in duplicate these days. So this is very special. I'm not sure how we're going to do it yet or what we're going to do. We're going to have John here when we do it. And but they're very special. These are one of a kind. As far as I know, the only place you can get anything like them, you would have had to go buy them at Barnes & Nobles or Books A Million. I forgot who had them, but that's it. Books A Million. So, and this year there was only 250 of them. So I'm pretty sure they're gone. So these are the only ones left, because nobody else is giving up their copies. I'm telling you now. Even the artists ain't giving up theirs. So this is the only time I'm going to do this. I'm going to have 6 of them to give away. I got to go dig them all up because I got them in places they don't get damaged. And well, this is no, this is the actual one that's getting given away. I took the one down that was up there, the reader's copy. And I'm keeping it. I always keep them for some reason, just because they have the little symbol down on the bottom. But this is the one that's getting given away. The one you see right here. It's going to be right here until I give it away, and it probably won't be till sometime in fall, or around Christmas time. So we'll give it away then. But that's the only time you're going to be able to get your fingers on these books. So there's going to be 6 autographed copies with all the judges and all the winners who were there for 6 years. Now, remember, the first year is insane that I went with them because it was double winners. So you're going to, instead of having 12 and 12 of each one of the judges, you're going to actually have all of 2 years worth. I don't want to say it was 48 because I think it was more like 44 or something, but there's a lot of judges. Yeah. And it's good. So I'm only giving one away. You're not getting your fingers on. Oh, we lost Cherrie already. And but we're not giving away any more than those, and that's it. That's the only ones you're gonna be able to get your fingers on. They're gonna be rare. What do you mean?
We'll have some generic ones that aren't autographed. They'll be sending to you. Like I said, I'm sending you a box.
Yeah,
you can.
No, so those are going to be we're going to give those away. So we'll probably give 1 or 2 away. Well, I like to give them away during the holidays. So maybe we'll do a red, white, and blue thing and give away 2. It's a good time for Elrond, so that's a good thing. And oh no, you mean where are they? Where are they? I just moved them the other day. I knew I shouldn't have had them out. I knew somebody was going to see them. I haven't even read these myself yet. Okay? I know which ones you're talking about. I have not even read these two right here. I've got 6 altogether. I've been through 4 and plus the picture book. I have not read these 2 yet. Oh no, 2 right here. Oh no, I've actually read this one because I got 2 of these. Yes, I don't know how I got 2 of them. I got 2 of them, but these are the ones I'm never giving these away. They'll eventually end up in my living room as copies on the tables and stuff. That's where they'll eventually end up. I know the other day I had them sitting in front of one of the awards on the floor, and the camera was further back so y'all could see them. We do have our guest, Cherrie, when she pops back in. I don't know what happened to her. I think she was taken by extraterrestrials or something along those ways. But anyway, I mean, that you'll be able to get those books that way. And John's going to send some more, so you'll be able to get those books that way.
Yeah.
Oh, and we're going to call her CL tonight. Is that what we're going to call her? CL, is that what we're calling you tonight?
We'll call it Cherrie.
Doing.
Cherrie, what are you doing? Can you see us? Can you hear us?
Hello, Cherrie.
Hi. There's
There
a
we go.
strange sound delay.
Well, that's weird. I wonder why you got a sound delay. Well, you know what's weird? I had double sound a little while ago, so I don't know. It's kind of strange happenings today. It was delays. You're not that far away from us that you should have a delay. I mean, did you move to Mars or something?
That is what it sounds like.
You want to try popping in with another link? Oh no, it's the same link, isn't it? I was gonna resend you the link, but I don't think that'll help you. It's
Anyway, so good to see you, Cherrie. You look great.
Thanks,
She always
John. Good
looks
to see you.
we even I'm getting tangled up and stuff. It's Michelle always looks great. So what have you been doing? Just we'll let you talk since you got double audio. So what you been doing? What have you been up to? Okay, it might be a
Can you
week.
hear? You can hear me, but you're not hearing Joe.
No, I can hear Joe. It's just that I think I'm hearing both of you twice in delay. And so
Oh, wait a minute. You don't have YouTube or nothing open, do you?
maybe let me
Yeah, because that might be what's causing it. If you got it open, it'll screw it. Don't ask me why. It just screws it.
Yeah, any of the other social apps because this is also on Facebook, YouTube.
Is it fixed?
So
I
Yeah,
think
no,
it's
not
bad.
fixed.
Oh,
Is it
good.
okay? Good deal.
Was it YouTube?
Well, because I had sent it a link to YouTube earlier in case you wanted it, the YouTube link. Carmen.
Yeah. What happened was I tried to get in using Safari, and I think
don't
I
like
also had a
Safari.
browser with the YouTube there while I was getting everything set up, and then had to switch to Firefox, and it just Safari went ahead and played the YouTube when the window wasn't even on the screen. So.
Yeah, I don't know why it doesn't. For some reason, StreamYard just does not like Safari. It never has. Google, anything else, yeah, it doesn't matter what it is. For some reason, it just does not like Safari. And you would think, being that it's an Apple product, that they would like it better. It's more secure.
Yeah, it must be a security thing. Oh well.
It probably is. It's probably was. So wait, I mean, now you're home. You're good. You got to hang out with all the crazy people.
Have you
and
started
got
your
to-
master's program yet, or is that still?
Okay, so I'm actually about to graduate from Western Colorado University's publishing master's degree program, run by Kevin J. Anderson. But I'm about to start a master's in fine art, which is a continuation of that in genre fiction. So, and that'll be for 2 years.
And you just like to stay busy.
Yeah, I
He's
can't help
Mistress Master
it.
or Master.
Who is this Kevin J. Anderson person? I've heard this name somewhere before. Why do I know this name? I know it from somewhere.
Kevin J. Anderson, one of the judges of the Writers and Illustrators of the Future contest.
Is that where I know him from? I knew him from somewhere.
Right?
Oh, don't be like that.
Kevin's a lot of fun to talk to. He
He's
really
fantastic.
is. Yes, he's a lot of
That's
fun to
great.
talk to.
So then, how long is his master's program? Is it 2 years?
His is a year. Yeah.
A year.
So it's a master's, but it's not an MFA. But then you can continue at another concentration if you like, if you want to continue for an MFA.
So now you'll do the 2 more years and end up with an MFA.
Yes, and I'll have a double concentration in publishing and genre fiction.
Got it. So does this have you writing as well as illustrating, or what is this? What does this do for you?
Okay, so it's twofold. I joined the publishing because I've actually been publishing. I have my own publishing company called Epitome Press. I've been publishing since about 2015, but it's very easy to start something on your own and get your feet under you, but not have any connections in the business, and so you're kind of working uphill. And I came across Kevin J. Anderson's program when I met him at Superstars writing seminars. And so what I'm getting out of the publishing program is not only the educational aspect, but also the network aspect of meeting people, making friends, learning about everybody else in the business and what they're doing. And also, I've been learning different things that I might have been doing the hard way. And I'm learning some other tools, and that that's actually already massively affecting our success with publishing. So,
is your husband in this with you?
He's not in the publishing program. I was the sacrificial lamb by choice. Of it's like, well, this is going to be helpful for us, and I was the one that wanted to do this.
But he's in the publishing. That is co-publishers.
Absolutely, yeah. Epitome Press is both of us, me and Jason P. Crawford. Yeah, and so then the genre fiction, that I'm a writer as well. So,
I do. I'm waiting for you to come out here as a winner.
No, me too.
Well, I'm working on it.
Get with it, woman. Get with it.
I keep writing. I keep submitting. I've gotten several silver honorable mentions. So.
That's good. Well, you're on the right track.
Yeah. So the genre fiction is really just like, well, I've had this boot camp for illustrating, and I really used Illustrators of the Future as a training ground for ramping up my illustration skills. And then I got even more of that at the Illustrators of the Future workshop that you guys just gave me. And I was like, well, I want that training ground for the writing. And I have done your online course, which was fantastic. But the genre fiction program is going to give me more training and also, a whole lot more of connecting with other writers. And I liked that community. So
sure. Yeah, because I started doing the research for my next one of these days for the press release on that rare breed of creatives who won both the writer and the Illustrators of the Future contest. So I'm getting my back work done on this thing. I just need that name to plug in there.
All right.
For the event that I need to make that press release happen. So
is it 5 or 6 who've already done it? Because I've heard both.
I'm in the middle of checking. I've said both, and now I'm actually doing it's not really vivid. I tried, Grok doesn't know, so I'm now having to go through do it the hard way, going through all the past 41. Well, I know nothing in the last few years, but I have to go through the last several, probably about 35 years worth of, and just comparing and just see what comes up.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Look at past press releases and where it's announced and just put it together like that and then double check. So I don't know, but when I do have it verified, I'm making a separate grid now saying these are the winners that have done both contests, and just have that as its own separate Excel file of winners.
That's exciting.
It is. It is. So now, will you be back at Superstars again this next year?
I will, yes.
Okay, good. Now, Joe's going to be coming to Dragon Con. Are you doing Dragon Con as well?
I am going to go to Dragon Con. I'm glad I'm going to see you, Joe.
Yes, and I'll be in t-shirts and jeans. Well, sometimes I will be.
It'll be my first time at Dragon Con. I've never been.
Oh, it's great. It's great. It's, I always tell everybody, well, you're in pretty good shape already, but I always tell everybody, look, give yourself about 2 weeks, go do some walking, get some exercise, because it's a lot of up and down. You got all the hotels to walk to start off with. I mean, it depends what you're there for, but when you want to see a lot, you got all the hotels, but in between the hotels, you got hills, valleys, hills, valleys. It's a lot of that. So, just I tell everybody pace yourselves, make sure you get your drink. It's I have a blast when I go. I always have a good I hang out with them, and then I'll usually go around and take a camera with me, and I just do random interviews in and out. But I gotta watch, because some of the crowds there actually know who I am. So sometimes, like I was doing the damn, I forgot what you call the Cosmo Girls. And I was over there interviewing a couple of them when somebody walked up behind me, asked me if I wanted to do an interview. And I'm like, well, I said, well, I've seen you on Ancient Aliens a few times. I'm like, oh, okay, sure. Why not? I'm like, why not? I'm here. Why not? But the cosplay girls, that's who I was interviewing. And I was over there talking because I know a couple of them from other gigs. And it was kind of fun. But it's weird because you start getting these weird crowds around you. And I usually try to go in something they won't recognize me, like jeans and a t-shirt. And my hair down. Nobody ever talks to me when my hair is down. So
Incognito.
I'm telling you, it's weird. If I got my hair down, people don't talk to me. They're so used to not seeing it ever. And when people do see it, they're like, I didn't know you had long hair. I'm like, now you do. That's pretty much how it is. But no, you'll have a blast. There's a lot of stuff to eat. There's a lot of little restaurants all around. I do like that Uber will pick you up on the curb, whatever your GPS is. They'll pick you up right there, which is nice because you get tired of walking. Usually I'll rent a car and park it right across. I think it's the Sheridan. There's a garage right across the street. I made a deal with the guy over there for 2 years and, just park it there all day if I need it for something. And I got it to where I can just come and go. I don't have to prepay every time I come in. So it's nice. But I usually stay down at the Hilton. I'm probably going to stay with my sister this year because something about threatening my life about something. But I haven't met my niece yet, who is now 3 years old.
Oh.
I'm in the doghouse. But and it's this bitch because Atlanta is really only 6 hours from where I live. It's just she travels, I travel, and we're always traveling different. She's been traveling overseas a lot, so. And I've been traveling out west and I've been on the East Coast a lot lately, but it's, and then, of course I went out to visit John and them out in LA for a week and a half out there hanging out with them, which remind me when I talk to you later this week, I gotta tell you something, John, you're going to love this. I can't say it on here, but I don't want to get anybody in accidental trouble. That's what I think. So wait, so now getting back to you. So now you got to talk to all the illustrators. And I'm not going to ask you who you learned the most from, but I am going to ask you, who did you spend the most time with?
Who did I spend the most time with? It's a tie.
I know it's tough. Yeah,
it's a tie. I spent a lot of time with Tom Wood.
Yes, Tom's a good guy.
Because he was great, and there was a lot of after hours time.
Yes.
And he even looked at my portfolio.
I spent a lot of time myself. So I know
after hours.
Yes.
But I also spent a lot of time with Lazarus Chernick.
Yes.
We talked a lot as well in the after hours. He actually got me a job shortly after, so by referring me to an author. So that's pretty cool. I've also been spending a lot of time with Bob Eggleton. So he wasn't actually able to be there in person this year, but he did do a Zoom with us, and he's been following up and just being a good mentor, that kind of stuff.
Well, that's all good company. You can't complain about your company you keep in there. I mean, they're all talented individuals.
Now, is there anybody whose art, because we've got such a diversity of art that our judges produce, anybody that you try to not emulate, but that's the line of country you're trying to follow with your art?
Oh my gosh. We all have such unique styles.
I know.
So definitely not emulate, but I would have to say that in particular, when I look at Bob Eggleton's artwork, there are some specific things that come across in his work that are important to me in my own work. And I know he used to do a lot more vibrant colors, and they're more muted now, but even still, his colors and his textures, and the way that he handles monsters, because a lot of he has these dinosaurs recently that he didn't paint them like, ooh, scary monster. They look like beautiful animals, and then the lighting is just insane. So, Yeah, yeah. I would say, Bob Eggleton with those textures and colors and the kind of realism of his monsters. So
Good, because I remember after Irvin Rodriguez finished his thing in the evening, the queue of all the winners afterwards, because I was
Yeah.
trying to set up with him. We're going to have lunch. And then, because I hadn't seen him for a year. And then it was just everybody behind me. Jordan says, "You got my ideal job." And just, all the winners lined up behind, just wanted to
Yes.
talk to him again for another hour or two after he finished his workshop.
Well, I mean, one, his artwork is stunning.
Mhm.
His handling of his career is just so impressive. How he's managing to have his personal work and he does his oil paintings with that, but then he's also doing all of this digital, and the quality is so comparable, and he's still maintaining his style. But that's making it so he can be faster, and he's working for all these big companies. All the
Yeah.
work that he's doing for Magic the Gathering is just insane.
Yeah.
I actually went after talking to Irvin and checked Magic the Gathering submission process, and I have myself all set up to submit to them when their window opens. So I put it in my calendar.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's great that Lazarus sets you up with something on that. But yeah, that's one thing I really like a lot is the judges are so invested in the contest themselves. For them, it's an important thing that they're doing to help pave the way for the future of the genre, so that they like it when they can actually provide work and provide things for the winners, and get you going. And we've got Larry Elmore. He's what's her name? Who's that? She was a winner a few years ago. She did the Dragons.
April.
April Solomon, yeah.
Yes.
April's one of my favorites too.
I
Yeah.
actually went to her birthday party right after leaving the gala week, because we were just fast friends, and so she invited me to her 42nd birthday party at the Huntington Gardens, and so we've been talking and hanging out. She's amazing.
She is. She's just definitely a real good egg.
Her dragons are so impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I like her because she's very outgoing.
Yeah.
She is, but she's also just so genuine.
Yeah,
she is.
And that's what I liked about her. Like there's nothing fake or phony there. It's just her,
Yeah.
We've got
It's
quite a few.
interesting how we met her. It was at Dragon Con. She was there. She was set up. She had her table next to our Illustrators of the Future table. So, and so Kim Catalano, who's our in charge of the trade sales, she was there, and she was sitting at the table of galaxies. Can you cover for me? They'd cover for each other so they could go eat or go to the restroom, and they got to know each other. And so she said, "You should enter the contest." So she entered Illustrators of the Future, and she won.
Did you win the first time she entered?
I don't know if it was the first time. It may have been a couple of times, but she was talking about how much she was totally a fan of Larry Elmore. So I set up and introduced him so that I think we did an email or a Zoom or something like that. So he could, and she was just like such a fangirl. She totally like, Larry Elmore. And
so guess what? They still do that. On Thursday, just out of the blue, they invited me into this messenger chat with Bob Eggleton, April Solomon, and David Hoffrichter, one of our other Volume 41.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, sometimes Echo's in here, and Larry Elmore's in here a lot, and so they're continuing that relationship.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's so cool on that. But it's important too that people just recognize that there is, that creativity, because you guys are about creativity. You're not about, okay, let's learn the best prompts to be able to ask the AI, for an image. You're there, you create it, and it's all about your origination, your creativity on the thing. It takes longer, but it's so much better.
That's what my brain is for. Why am I here if something else is going to do the creativity for me? You know?
It never hurts to have a little help.
Ha!
when I'm designing stuff, especially when I'm doing stuff that has anything to do with building structures or anything like that, it's nice to have a program that I can bounce some of the work off of. It's because you can get one, it can get tedious, and two, you get boring and tedious, and it's nice to have something fact checking me.
I mean, tools are tools, but at the same time, when I'm working on a piece, I have multiple different art groups where I will throw it into the chat and be like, "Hey guys, what do you think of my perspective? You see anything you can poke holes in?" The job that I just did, it was a logo for Martin Shoemaker for his Story Jazz brand that he's putting out, and we ended up getting a comment where a friend of ours was like, "Hey, that C looks a little bit like a G. You should take the curly Q off of it." And I liked it, but sometimes you do need other eyes on your work. Yeah. So I put it into some of my critique groups, and they all looked at it, and I didn't tell them what I was asking for, except, "Hey, tell me about the text. Do you have any issues there?" And it was unanimous that it would be easier to read that if I changed it, and I did. But yeah, I absolutely agree with you, Joe. We don't want to work in a vacuum. We don't want to be totally isolated, or never have any kind of feedback. And I think it's a matter of balancing. You've got to have that confidence of your work and knowing what you're going for, and knowing if you're putting across something that is meaningful for you, but also getting the job done. But at the same time, you have to be able to know when to take critique and when not to take critique. And I worry that with AI, people, artists are getting holes poked in their own confidence and their own processes when they're turning to, "Oh, but AI does it better," or "AI can tell me if I've done it right." And I don't know.
I prefer the way you're doing it, using real people to help. I would prefer it that way. It always helps to have real people. But you're right about that. You have to know when to say take it and when not to.
Yeah.
Because a lot of what I do, people say, "Oh, you're crazy doing that." I said, "Well, we'll see if I'm crazy or not." And it's like when we started that show that follows this one, people said, "Joe, that's never going to work." Yeah, it's the most popular show we have. So sometimes you have to know. You just have to go with your own feelings. And then sometimes somebody asked me just the other day, "How do you know the difference?" Well, how do you know the difference? Cherrie, I mean, you doing it, you're like, so this one I should listen to. Maybe no, you're full of it. I mean,
it's a process. It's something you learn over time. It's not something you just come out of the womb knowing. I mean, some people, but usually as you grow up, you get a lot of that beaten out of you in different ways. And you can have your confidence shaken over time because we're taught to listen to other people, to trust authorities, to obey constantly, and so that can make it harder to hear your own inner voice at that point. So I think if we're talking about just for art, while you're building your art skills, it's a good idea to continue to have feedback and critique, but you've got to be building the confidence at the same time. And I think mental health is a big factor there. When artists used to have to suffer, I don't know about in silence, but suffer in their art, and that it's important to find the resources. If you're suffering, if you're struggling, and if you're noticing that, "Oh, I hate my art. Oh, I can't tell if my art's any good. Oh, I showed somebody my art and it hurt my feelings so bad I don't want to paint anymore." Then
part of that, part of that is, who are your associates? Who are your quote unquote friends?
Yes,
if you're going to be around people that leave you feeling like that, you got the wrong people you're around.
Yes.
And so artists, you talked about, the history of artists always being, artists are magnets for the soul suckers, the people that can't create, the people that can't do aesthetics will glom onto an artist and just suck it out of them, that sense of life and vigor. So you got the artist they're sick. They're like, "Oh no, I'm not good enough." And they're just doubting themselves.
Right.
Well, it's that person or people that they've associated themselves with that are totally bringing them down. And that's why it's important that's why we've created Illustrators that Feature and Writers that Feature. You've got a family, you've got a group of people that aren't like that. They're going to give you the support that you need. And if someone says, yeah, well, somebody needs to be truthful with you about that you suck, well, then the truth is that person needs to be gotten off your lines, not you quit art. You can, it's, if it gives you joy, if it gives you, the ability, if you work at it and keep on building up your confidence and your ability to create art.
I'll usually give criticism with a helping hand or something along the line. Or, I don't like to criticize somebody without at least having an example of, why this is a criticism and what you could be doing to make it better. So that's why I don't talk about art, because, frankly, I know I listen to y'all, it's and I learn a lot. Don't get me wrong. And I've learned a lot I can hold a conversation just about anybody in the art field now or in the illustrators field, but still critiquing somebody's work. No, I can't do that.
Yeah.
I mean, I could critique it publicly saying, yeah, my own personal taste.
Sure.
I like this or I like that, but going up and doing really critique, no, I can't do that. I can't. It wouldn't be fair to me or to the person I was doing it to.
Well, and here's something. One of the things that I've learned when giving critique or taking critique, when you're giving critique, you want to ask if people actually want critique.
That's true.
If this is the time for critique, what kind of critique they're looking for, and then you have to have some humbleness when you're giving critique. You can't be all self-righteous, like, I know what's right and what's good, and I will now tell you. It has to be, a communication. And so it's the same when you're taking critique. And it took me a while to learn this. If I'm getting critique from someone, I will usually give them ground rules, or I will tell them, or if I'm just sharing, I'll be like, I'm just sharing. I'm very happy with this. I'm not really looking for critique at this point. I just want to be celebrated. I want to show you what I made. I love it. I hope you do too. Or if I want critique, be like, I'm concerned about the composition. Give me your thoughts, but then you can also tell people when you're done, when you're like, oh, thank you for that. I'm not going to take that particular advice, but it was helpful to discuss, ground rules and a conversation. And when you're a younger artist, oftentimes you're a little more fragile.
Yeah, well, that's true. I mean, it's thinking about giving anybody critique. I mean, you can damage somebody for life. It's, or you can help somebody. It just depends. I got a lot of friends that are in a lot of different things, and they're always calling me, Joe, what about this? What about that? I said, I don't know nothing about that. Oh, just tell me what you think. I said, do you really want me to tell you what I think? And they're like, is it going to be mean? I'm like, probably. No, don't tell me that. Don't ask me.
I'll turn around and be like, well, what do you think? Like, I turn inward, ask yourself. You're asking me for this validation. You're looking for someone to tell you this is good. Or someone to tear it apart because you're terrified it's not good. But, turn inward, ask yourself, which I've done that to myself. When I'm realizing I'm feeling all uncertain, I'm like, oh, who should I ask? I'm going to ask this expert or this expert. And I'm like, wait a minute, why?
Yeah. One of my female hosts is an artist or inspiring artist. She asked me today, what do you think? I said, I'm not the person. I said, I'll tell you what you do. Go over to writersfuture.com. Take the course, submit, talk to these people. I said, she said, but you talk to a lot of them. You see a lot of what wins. I said, okay, first off, I've never picked the big winner yet correctly. I said, so don't ask me.
I did.
You see, I'll look at him going, yeah, this is a good win. I was talking to April, and I say, oh, this is definitely going to do. Not even close. It's not authors or illustrators. It's just, and I enjoy all of it. I think everybody does a great job. It's just you have your favorites, I guess, is what it comes down to. And I like dragons, so I got my favorites. I was picking. As a matter of fact, I was picking on Tom. That was an ugly dragon you drew.
Oh, Tom, you're picking on his dragon?
Oh yeah. I was saying, I think April draws better dragons. I said we'll have to put her. I said we'll have to put her up against Larry. And he's like Joe. I was like, but he knows I'm going to pick on him, so he knows it. He knows it coming in. It's fun, but I like watching all of y'all. I mean, it's great to me. It's a learning experience in a lot of ways. So I enjoy going down and watching everybody. I'm meeting the winners, and this year's crowd, like I was telling John earlier, just this year's crowd, it was a particularly really good, outgoing. Even the ones that were inverted were extroverted, so it was kind of nice. Everybody was very talkative. Everybody got in their time. Everybody got interviews done. I was really happy to see how everybody worked out, and like yourself and others, I've seen everybody taking full advantage of the judges, and that's what they're there for.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what they want. You know, one of them asked me this year. Somebody asked me every year, but somebody asked me this year about it. Well, are we bothering them? I said, no, that's what they're here for. I said, trust me, if you're bothering them, say, hey, I'm doing something, come back after a while. I said, nobody here is shy. I said, everybody's been doing this a long time. I said, but they're here. They want to help you. They want to see you. I said, they want to be able to say just like I do. I know that person. Hell, we helped them get to wherever they got to.
Well, and we've been. Go ahead, Joe.
No, I was just going to say when you're a famous artist, but go ahead. I mean, big famous.
We've been talking a lot about confidence and taking critique and everything, and John Goodwin brought up a good point about the factor that that winning Illustrators of the Future and having that kind of support and validation, the role that plays in the building up that confidence, because that's absolutely been a big deal for me, and I've definitely felt the difference since winning, but even more so since attending the workshop and being in that supportive environment with all of the writers and illustrators of the future, judges, and you, John, and Emily, and everybody there. So
yeah, you realize it was a month ago today.
Oh my gosh,
that was the award ceremony. It was the 10th of April. Now we're the 10th of May.
Time is weird.
Yes,
it's weird, but it's just so like it's been a month. So like looking back, 4 weeks ago, what stands out the most for you right now? Because it's going to change over time. Because when I talked to Irvin, he was like 15 years ago. So what because for him and for and Brittany said the thing that remembers her most is the L. Ron Hubbard essay, the one that talks about art more about, where it says art is the quality of communication. That for her now, 20 years later, is what really stands out for her. But for you now, it's been a month because you fresh in your mind the cover reveal, the book. I mean the art. With all the winners, seeing their art, the obviously the event, the portfolios, the reviews from the judges, the still life, the stills and illustration like that, doing the live illustration. What kind of like stands out for you as the most helpful for you, or it's also just the people that you met?
Okay, I'm going to answer this question differently every single time I get asked.
For sure, it changes every time.
Yeah, it changes every time, and there are just so many things that stand out. One of the things that was just very impactful for me was after the gala, because the gala itself is another one of those things that I'm eventually going to answer as the thing. It's this whole magical event. But one of the things would be after the gala when we were doing the signing. And, we signed books before, and it wasn't just the act of signing the books, but having all of the people who'd attended the gala come through and talk to us and look at our artwork on the table and have us sign their books. And the little comments they made and the way that they would look at the art and the way that they would look at me and at our authors and everybody, it felt special. It's like there was just this whole glow to it. Everyone was so excited and just so in awe of the atmosphere that was created by this culmination of artistic creation, because that's what the L. Ron Hubbard Writers of the Future, every volume is. It's just this culmination of creative energy. All of these authors, all of these judges, and all of the artists putting their work into this one volume. And then, the attendees were receiving this book and looking at what we had done, and the way that they looked back at us was magical. And I'm never going to forget how it felt having people look at my work that way, And there was even this one person that came by and he just had to talk to me because he had to tell me that he thought that I should have been the grand prize winner. And I was just I didn't think I should have been the grand prize winner. I think that Jordan should have won that honor, and well deserved. But just to have one person, it was just this special moment of like pointing out the way art is, it's so subjective. So to
Yeah.
have one person, you know, be like, yeah, yours reached me. I was like, oh, that really is how this works. You know, you put everything of yourself that you can into your piece, you give it to people, and sometimes some people are going to pull that into their heart and be like, yes, this speaks to me.
Yeah.
So
this is a piece that Cherrie
done.
created.
So that is a moment that really stood out for me, was,
Oh,
you know,
that's
to be somebody's favorite in that moment, you know, and to have everybody coming around just so thrilled with the whole thing. So.
Which is great. Well, that's good. Thank you very much for that answer. So
Thank you, John.
yeah, so any comments also, because this was, you know, like, I don't know how familiar you were with L. Ron Hubbard before winning the contest, but well, you're in a separate category because you're also a writer too, so you've a little bit more inclined to read than an illustrator is. But how familiar were you with him prior to coming out, and then how did that change after that week?
Well, let's see. You know, I've known about L. Ron Hubbard for a long time. You know, he has a rich history. He's a pretty well-known name, and I hadn't read a lot of his work. I tended to read very niche things when I was younger, and then when I came across the Writers and Illustrators of the Future contest, I did know who he was, and that's when I started reading some of his work, and especially a lot of the short stories.
Yeah.
And you know, and I was very impressed with the breadth of work that he did across his life. So by the time I won as an illustrator and I attended, I was pretty familiar. But when we attended, you know, for that week in Hollywood, I definitely learned more about L. Ron Hubbard's history, you know, and I got to see that library just full of all of the works that he did.
Yeah.
And it was even more broad than what I was aware of. And you know, and read another short story of his. I really enjoyed the radio show for John. Remind me what the name of that one was.
That was it was
something.
He was the
Old,
1 second. It
was the old man one.
Tough old man.
Tough old man. I very much enjoyed that one.
Yeah.
And that radio show performance of it was another fantastic experience.
What did you think of the life exhibition when you toured through that?
It was really fascinating. You know, it was very interesting going through and just seeing the care that was taken with his whole history. I did find it particularly interesting seeing his childhood and the different relics from that time, like his journal in particular.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
I know that's one of Joe's favorite things that he did when he came out there, when he finally toured through the
I like going to it. It's because he's got a very rich history. I mean, he reminds me a lot of myself. I love to travel. I've been all over the freaking planet. He just does. We both had Navy careers, and kind of weird the way his went and the way mine went. It's just strange. I just like the guys, you know, and I like what he does for the writers of the future. It took John a while to convince me.
I actually didn't know about his military history, so I did learn that from the museum.
Yeah, well, you see, you know, somebody asked me about him just a couple of weeks ago. I was doing a little local election. Somebody asked me about him. I said, well, you know, I said there's like 3 versions of L. Ron Hubbard. I said, you just have to go through his life and look at it, where he started, where he was, where he ended up. And I said, you just, when you do it like that, you know, he was everywhere. I like him because he traveled all over. He traveled to a lot of places I didn't get to go, even though I went to I've been to 45 countries, but it's still, you know, there's a lot of places he went I would have liked to have gone myself. But I also like that he was doing first. He was out there navigating in old school. Today you don't get to navigate like that. Today the computer drives. It don't matter when you're on a big old aircraft carrier, big old Navy ship. The computer's driving. And I said, I want to go up, and it just takes over. It takes you wherever the hell you want to go. It's
We'll get a little tiny sailing ship, Joe.
oh, I've sailed over the years. It's just I mean, I can even use a Saxon. It's just we don't need them today. We got all this fancy dancy GPS.
Yeah.
It's even amazing. My GPS works in my boat, especially if I got my Satcom phone with me. I love my Sat phone. I can call you anywhere in the world with that phone. The thing is fabulous.
We have you didn't see it, but we have basically an office here at Author Services with for Owen Hubbard, and it's got a section that he used to use. We have a lot of the stuff that he used, a lot of the Navy equipment that he had, that's in there in the office. And yeah, he had all that stuff. And in fact, on that one trip, you saw it on the expedition where he went to Ketchikan, Alaska, and did the first Golden Pen Award. He was researching equipment that was used for what became LORAN, the long range navigation, which was the navigation that the Navy used until the satellites started being used in the mid 60s. So he did all that stuff there, and he charted a lot of the West Coast there along Oregon and Washington and up in Alaska, because it hadn't been charted, and there were a lot of ships that would hit the rocks and shoals there and would sink because of it wasn't charted properly. So he did that whole thing there as part of an expedition for the Explorers Club. But he just definitely got around, and that all became grist for his typewriter mill, which he always had a typewriter with him when he's writing his stories, and so it's just interesting. I like talking to creatives about that and get their take on it, how it, the experience, what it did. And several of the judges, are envious the fact that he did it, but they're very glad that he did, because he was in a position that he could afford to do that. Being one of the most successful authors, he had the income source from all of his royalties to be able to fund this, and he created it so that 40 plus years later it's still going on, which is great. This year we're going to break our 1,000 mark of winners.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah. So that's
I
pretty.
I hadn't heard the numbers for how many winners that we've had in that history.
Yeah, we hit 984 this year. So next year is going to be the
big dog numbers.
1,000.
All right, so I have to win the writer's side in the first 1,000, huh?
That'd be pretty good. That'd be pretty good.
You got it just about whooped. I heard you had it just about whooped. I was talking to somebody about you a couple of weeks ago. They said she just about got it whooped out. Yeah. I think they're looking forward to seeing to you next year.
Yeah.
Well, we'll
then
see.
you get to hang out with Tim and Jody all day. Yeah, always a blast to hang out with.
And she'll use up another 2 tables worth of with her immediate.
Yes. In case you don't know, ladies and gentlemen, she brought her own cheering squad with her to the gala.
Seriously, yes.
I was laughing my ass off. Me and V were laughing hard. It's
between your cheering squad and Tremini, it was like,
oh God, Tremini's something else.
Yeah,
Tremini's a blast.
I have good friends, and they've known that I've been trying to win this for a long time, and a couple of them have come to the gala with me before that, and I have a lot of writer friends, and TJ Knight is one of your previous winners.
Yeah,
and I made friends with him at Superstars, and he was here this past year, so he was with my cheering squad being loud, and
that's good. Yeah, he comes every year now. He comes out early, and he's a driver. He just loves the contest so much.
He's fantastic.
He'd been entering for years and years, and when he finally won, his video has been the most popular of all the little shorts that we've created over the years for Writers of the Future, because it was so funny. He pulls out his little slip, so I've been doing this, and you think, okay, for the last, and he says 7, I've had this speech written, 7 years ago or 9 years ago, whatever it was. He said, it's just, it's really good. And he just, like I said, he comes out every year. He just loves helping. He's such a good guy.
Yeah, he is. And he does the same thing, just in the other avenues of his life. He mentors other authors, authors that are trying to win the contest, or just, trying to get their writing out there. And I'm in a Discord that he set up specifically for that. So
That's good.
him and James Davies and a bunch of
Okay.
other awesome writers. So
Yeah,
I like to see everybody hanging out together. It's nice to see. I mean, I keep because just 15 or 20 of y'all I keep up with on a regular basis, and then there's quite a few that I'm either on Instagram or Facebook pages and stuff like that. So I see it come across my pages from time to time, so it lets me keep up what's going on. But yeah, I just like to see how many of y'all stay talking and stay friends, even 2, 3, 4 years in. That they're still talking and still hanging out, because sometimes friendships like these go to the wayside, and sometimes they don't. And I think these kind of friendships are going to pay off long term.
all of the creative fields are difficult. It can be lonely, it can be isolating, it can be, any field where you're putting yourself out there and you have to take so much rejection as you do with creativity, and it's like you're being rejected. We've got to take care of each other. We've got to stick up for each other and cheer each other on, and
Yes, I don't do rejection well. I'm kind of like, I can't even say what I'd say on this show. It's a PG-13 show, so I can't come to the other show. You'll hear what I had to say about it. But it's I'm not real good. I'm like, excuse me, what did you just blanking? What did you just say? Mm-hmm. Where do you live? I'm going to send somebody to visit you. Oh man, it's hard. I mean, when you're creative and you're in creative areas, it's tough, and some people, especially today, people just have the need to be mean. I noticed a lot of people just want to be, I was watching, I've got all these things crossing all my different pages for news and stuff, and I'm just watching people just being mean for the sake of being mean. I was like, damn, just people calm down.
mm-hmm.
It's a little crazy, right? But it makes for good news, though. Not necessarily good news, but good news for what we do.
Yeah.
It's good for that kind of stuff, but it's terrible to watch go by. I was watching them. What was yesterday? They were hating on Beyonce all day. I was cracking up. I was like, damn. And then today they were hating on Taylor Swift all day. I'm like, come on, just people. I don't even want to see that on my page. I actually go block that stuff because I'm not really interested in either one of them. So I just block it off my page. But it's somebody dropped me a thing. It was on X this morning. It was about 10,000 posts on it. It was no one said anything nice about either one of them. I was like, wow, that's a big change from just a year ago. And I was like, okay, goodbye, block. Let's go to more fun stuff. I like crazy stuff, fun stuff, interesting stuff.
Yeah, I'm not big on tearing people down.
No,
that's
especially creatives.
And that's easy to do there. It's just I like to take up for people. It's a very bad habit of mine. My wife gives me shit about it all the time. She said, stop doing that. She said, you can't defend everybody on the planet. And but I said, yeah, but I've been building an army to help me out. And I said, I got 50 hosts now to get out there and help me out with this stuff. And soon to have another 10. We've been adding hosts like most people are gray hairs, man. It's something else. But I'm glad to see you look good. You're sounding good. Everything sounds like it's good. Nobody, had to whip nobody's ass in that when you got home or nothing.
No.
No, that's good. That's a good thing. That's
working on my
good.
projects, creating,
But at least life's to enjoy. It's a lot of people don't realize that, but it's a sad thing. But life is here for us to have fun and enjoy it. And whatever it is that makes you be happy is what you should be doing. I tell people that all the time. Whatever it is that makes you feel happy, you should be doing. When people talk to me about religions, I tell them the same thing. Whatever makes you feel as snug as a bug in a rug, go ahead. As long as it makes you feel that way. I said, don't worry about what anybody else is saying. I'm sure they got their own shit you can hate on them for. And let's like John. Look how sweet John is. He's such a sweetie pie. It's I see we got TR down there. We're gonna drop him
blush, Joe.
He's a sweetie. He knows he's a sweetie. Emily's the one I like to make blush. She cracks me up when she blushes. It says, I am not nice. That's what she told me that this year. She put her hand on her, I'm not really nice. I just started laughing and walked off. I'm like, okay. I said, I'll be over here when you get serious again. But she is so much fun to torture, though. TR, how you doing?
Hey, Dan.
Hey, how you doing?
Dan,
how you doing?
I like TR better. We call him TR like TJ Hooker or something. It's we're giving him a new brand. And so what you been up to since you're home? Staying out of trouble? I know you ain't been hanging out with this one because she's trouble. So
Yeah, but she's still on the West Coast. I have to wait until she comes out to Atlanta to start talking to her and causing
That's right.
trouble.
That's right. You way out east. I forget.
Oh, yeah, and I'm going to be setting up a dinner too for everybody. So I'm probably going to do it like on Friday night so that we all can meet at everybody that finally decides they're going to come out there. Are you going to be there?
Oh, yeah.
Because I think it goes Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. It's the 4 days, I think is how it goes, right?
It's Thursday through Sunday or Monday.
Monday, because Monday is Memorial Day.
Yeah, whatever day it is, it ends early. I know that whatever the last day is.
Yeah, the last day it ends early.
And it's Gretchen, we're talking about Dragon Con. Yes, we're gonna all be going to Dragon Con.
Anyway, so I'm gonna be sending around an invitation. Whoever wants to do the dinner thing is, I mean, everybody pays for themselves, but it should be a lot of fun with all the winners coming there and past winners as well. I'll be inviting them too.
Yeah, so with us living on the East Coast, this is almost our celebration gala for everyone that wasn't able to go out to Hollywood. So this is going to be kind of a thing if I can make it happen.
Yeah, so it's a lot of fun. I know that. It's always a lot of fun out there. I'm going to have my lightsaber with me, or one of my 2 lightsabers. I'm bringing one with me. Says making some shit. I can bring in the one with the fighting blade on it because that way I can whack people with it. It's
Joe.
No, that's why I'm bringing it, because the other one's got a glass blade on it. You know, I got when your boy was
people.
Because people get in your way. You need to get the hell out of your way. Move. It's got lines.
No, they have weapons checks, right, Joe?
Huh?
At cons now they have weapons checks.
Yeah, well, they'll let that one in. That's why I'm not bringing that in the real ones. Martha's going to stay in the car, but she's not allowed to go in certain places. She gets upset when I bring it. You know, she's like, "No, don't leave me in the car." No, baby, you got to stay in the car.
Martha says 45 caliber or whatever it is.
She likes to stay. My 30 round it's got a 31 round clip in it right now, so it's ready to go to war. But it's no, Frankie. No, I do carry a gun sometimes. I don't take one when I go to LA. I don't feel like I need one out in LA. Everybody always tells you LA. I've been out in LA like 24 times in my life now, and I should knock on before I say this, but nobody's really ever bothered me out there. I've never had anybody bother me. I'm kind of ugly guy to start off with, so most people just get out of my way. But I've never had any problems with that. I've not even had anybody big nasty or say anything nasty out there, other than getting high when I'm walking around LA. I mean, other than that, it's kind of a nice place. You know, I warn you people. If you don't go to LA on a weekend, if you don't like smelling marijuana, I'm just telling you. To be honest with y'all,
crazy.
It's a normal person will be high in a 2-block radius. Like Larry Elmore, he got so high I couldn't stop laughing. I guess I was high too because I couldn't stop laughing. It's like, Larry, are you okay? Yeah, I'm okay. And poor Dan was, oh God, but it was a rough night. There was just a lot of smoking going on that particular night. Tom was there. There's a bunch of us. April was there. It's we were leaving the hotel to go down to Author Services to take pictures. You know how they put the artwork in the windows out front, so we're going to go take pictures out there. And just the crowd was so thick between the hotel and Author Services. We should have went the other way, but instead we went down the street. We didn't even take the shortcut through the mall, which is what we should have done. But by the time we got from the Lowe's to Hollywood Boulevard, everybody was high. By the time we got from the street right there all the way down to Author Service, everybody was double high. I mean, it's just the crowd.
That's the reason why Los Angeles and California continues to decline.
Yes. So before anybody asks, no, you can't do that in LA. Don't go walking around smoking weed in LA because they will put your ass in jail for it. Even though I think they went to medical fine.
They won't. It's just,
they
smoke cigarettes. They will, but
that's another thing. That lady cracked me up the first year we were at the Lowe's. She tells me, I said, man, the whole floor just reeks. I said, wait. I thought this was a no smoking hotel. She said, what it is? I said, well, wait, let me get this straight. You can't smoke cigarettes, but you can smoke weed. I said, then it's not a no smoking hotel. She's like, well, it's different from marijuana. I'm like, really? I was like, ooh, okay. That was a different way of looking at things. See, down here, it doesn't work that way, people. If it's non-smoking, they mean non-smoking or whatever the hell you smoking. Don't be smoking it out in public.
Anyway, getting back onto the author's quill. So we've got 2 celebrated talents here. We've got author Dan Naus and illustrator Cherrie Forrest, soon to be author Cherrie Forrest as well. She'll be coming out here as the 5th or 6th or 7th person to have won both contests. imminently.
Don't worry, Cherrie. There's no way in heck I'm ever going to be able to get the artist. So you have
It's not gonna happen.
it's not going to happen.
No.
Oh man, it's hey Jay, I didn't see you down there. Jay's in there. Jay McNick's one of our co-hosts on the show, following this one actually. Keep me on top. He's like, yeah, we're not talking about food. Is not allowed to be talked about on this show. Thank you very much. Unless Emily's here, and then we can talk about it. Yes.
Oh, okay, good. Yes.
Yes. Other than that, no. But it's just how it is. So Dan, what you doing? You home? You back? I mean,
yeah.
go ahead.
I was just saying with Cherrie a little bit ago. It was exactly 1 month ago that we had the gala. It was the 10th of April. So and we've established too that every time I ask her over the years to come, what do you remember most? Because going back now to Brittany B. Jackson, who was the Illustrator judge, because she was a grand prize winner in volume 24. She said to her, what stands out for her is the L. Ron Hubbard essay on Art More About, where he says art is the quality of communication. That's what she tries to do in her art. But now looking back over that week and the gala and the following up workshop we did, what stands out most for you now? Like I said, it's going to be changing. It'll be evolving as your career expands.
It's definitely going to be the other winners. We connected in a way that I was not anticipating connecting. We still talk to each other pretty much daily, every other day. We are still kind of together. Understanding that we're not in this alone, meaning, hey, this is a kind of a solo thing, being an artist or being a writer, but maybe not as alone as we probably thought we were. And then when we started thinking about some of our colleagues who were in places that were not like where I'm at. I'm right outside DC, so me getting into markets is not particularly the most challenging. But we have someone in Wales where I remember Mr. Sawyer telling them, yeah, there's no cons in Wales. There's no conventions in Wales. So how do we help each other out? So it really became about the other winners. How do we start advancing kind of each other? And then how do we work with each other? Because we went through that experience together. Now there's a larger community. That the Discord channel has, the rest of all the people that are working together. But then, just the other winners themselves, I think.
Well, that's good. One thing based upon earlier volumes, these are relationships that you're going to maintain for years to come. It doesn't peter out. As long as you keep on creating it, they'll keep on creating it as well. So that's one thing that's really good. And what'll be nice too at Dragon Con, provided you're able to make it, you'll meet earlier winners as well. And so you'll even see how much bigger the family is.
Sounds like it's going to be a busy booth this year.
Oh, for sure. Well, just the Illustrator booth. Emily's trying to get a second table because I think we got 8 or 9 illustrators.
Yeah, that's what it would sound like. It's going to be
coming
busy.
there. And that's in addition to the 5 illustrators, 5 artists that already have booths at Dragon Con that were past winners.
April Solomon's going to be there.
One of them, yeah.
Yeah, so for ours, I think we had 3 that are going, 1 that is still on the fence of going. So we know at least 4. We're trying to, I would never say that I would push other people going, but, we're trying to cajole if we can. So we are trying to kind of have that where are you now moment, and what are we doing next moment? Because you don't have that much time to think when you're in Hollywood about what the future looks like. You're just kind of soaking in that you're there.
Yeah.
After a couple of months, now you're going, all right, well, I'm here. So what stories have we got? So where are we going, both on a writing front and a marketing or promotion front, right? How do you do both of those roughly at the same time? So it would be good to see some of those guys again. I heard a couple more starting to show up.
Yeah.
Originally, when I was asking everybody about Dragon Con, 8 or 9 people told me they were going to try to go this year. It might even been 10 because I was talking with Carmen about it the other day, or actually a couple weeks ago, and I think it was 9 people who told me they were going to try to get there. I said, "Well, come. It's always a lot of fun. It's a lot of exercise, but it's a lot of fun."
Yeah.
Unless you're just gonna be sitting on your butt signing autographs, and that's a whole different thing. If
Well,
that's how you're doing, then that's nothing. How the rest of us are gonna be walking around.
I thought Dragon Con. So I've been to a lot of cons, and Dragon Con is a little different in the sense that it is multiple hotels. So
Yeah.
there's a lot more going from spot A to B to C, and in each of the hotels, if I remember correctly.
That's
5
correct.
hotels this year and one in the convention center.
Yep.
The
And then-
first time I ever went, it
America's
was like
Mart
great.
is the convention center that you use. America's Mart.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
America's Mart, right.
So, yeah.
And then but that allows you a lot more space than when you have at a convention and getting out. And
Oh,
kinda,
it's way more.
yep.
I'll be back in about 2 minutes, Joe. I need to quickly go
So,
somewhere.
I like too. They stretch out everything. They got little water things all over. They got little snacks laying around.
Yep.
They don't even charge for any of that crap. It's no, Denise. Dragon Con's a lot of fun. I mean, it's not cheap. And I haven't checked ticket prices this year because I don't pay when I go. But it's probably going to be about $120 a day. If you buy a package, you might get it in a better price. And sometimes you get a good package deal with the hotel, but it's probably too late for the hotel package deal now. They tend to sell out really fast. Now, if you can't get in the 5 hotels, I like to stay at the Hilton down the street. The suites are not bad. And the Uber ride's like $2. I mean, you can walk if you want. It's only like a half a mile, three-quarters of a mile. But if you want to, Uber will pick you up at the hotel, drop you off right there. It's really easy. I like the Hilton because I get a suite when I go in because I like, because, we do, a lot of times I'm doing interviews. So I want to keep the one part of the room separate from the other part. So it's kind of nice that way. And everybody can come in and relax. Matter of fact, last year, or New Year before last, I said, there's a bunch of them. I said, here's the key to my hotel. Don't wreck it. I sent like 6 of them over there to go to sleep. They were beat. I guess I don't even know what they were doing. It was said, go on. I said, I ain't going to be back till later. I said, I got to go see some friends. See, fortunately for me, I got friends and family in Atlanta, so I'll be visiting both, or they'll be visiting me either way. It's a lot of fun.
What I missed last time I was there, because I was there a couple of years ago, was the parade. So I'm really looking forward to actually seeing the parade this time.
Last year, I think I caught the tail end. I was doing something. I was doing an interview, and somebody said, "You're going to go to the parade?" I'm like, "Yeah." He said, "What's going on right now?" I said, "Oh, I'm in the middle of an interview. I can't just get up and leave." And I was going to interview Pat, but then I said, "No, I'll catch him at Dragon Con." So I got with Bill and caught him at Dragon Con and did the interview. I mean, at Dragon Con at Writers of the Future and did the interview there. But there's a lot of opportunities to meet a lot of people there, especially when it comes to authors, illustrators. I mean, there's lots and lots of booths, lots of people to talk to, and I might even wear a press pass this year. Sometimes I wear one, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I want anybody to know who the hell I am. I just don't want to be known. I will. I'll put on a cowboy hat, some shit kickers, duster. Nobody knows who the hell I am. I'll just walk around like that. Y'all can be the famous people. I'm there for fun. I hope my best bartender's there, though, man. They got a girl who works at the one hotel. She is a fabulous. She makes a fabulous. Whatchamacallit. Oh man, I can't remember damn drinks. One of my favorite drinks too. I think I'll be drinking White Russians this year. While all y'all stay sober, I'll be having a couple White Russians, walking around harassing people.
Completely staying sober. That's how we should be doing it.
Y'all should be. It's exactly how y'all should be doing it. Yes, I'm pressed. I don't have to be like that. I'm not there trying to impress anybody. I'm just there making trouble. It's but it's a lot of fun. I mean, a lot of places to go, and of course, where Don and them at, everything for sale and its mama's up there. I mean, you want to see something for sale. I mean, it's everything's there. And then they got like was last year before they had all the cosplay people in the back, which was interesting in itself. 2 years I got in a bunch of them. That was just a nightmare a nightmare of having fun is what that was. And lots of crazy pictures, lots of interviews. A couple of girls I was talking to could barely speak English. I was like, no English. I know, no English. I'm like, need a translator. I'm going to bring a set of them pods with me this year, just in case they have a bunch of people from one of the Asian countries. It makes my life easier. So wait. So what do we got? Oh man, Dan, I was thinking about you. I was in DC just 10 days ago.
Yeah, you said you were going to come up here. I was.
Yeah, I had forgot. Yeah, I was going. And the bitch part was I actually had time. I was who was I talking to? I think it was Carmen. I was like, Yes, I said, somebody I want to see while I'm up here. And he's like, you know, a lot of people. I was like, yeah, but there's somebody I talked to just recently I want to see. I didn't remember your name until I got home. I was like, oh, because I would have just called John and say, yeah, give me some contact information so I can, you know, text him or call him. And
I'm like just right outside DC right now.
yeah, I was at they had me stand at the well, it's not the Mandarin anymore, but it used to be the Mandarin.
Yep.
And it's they had me there and always put me in a nice suite. It's always nice. And that presidential suite they got over there is freaking nice. Ancient Aliens put me up in that thing. That thing is nice. It's bigger than my house. You know, my house ain't little. That's almost 3,000 square. That thing was huge. They had a bathroom in there. I'm not telling you guys. The bathroom's bigger than my master bedroom and my spare bedroom combined. It was insane. Everything was voice controlled. Blinds open by command. Showers come on by voice command. They had aromatherapy in it, and music. I was like, get the hell out of here. I said, I see how the really rich people live. That's for sure. Cherrie, you'd have loved it. I mean, but and then they got the big, what I call the car wash shower, where you get like, I guess it's for a party with people or something. No, really. I mean, it's literally you can put like 20 people in there. And there's 50 or 60 shower heads in it. It's when I seen it, I'm thinking, what are you supposed to drive your car into the hotel? And I still,
You know what? You're just making me picture basic training showers.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. It's kind of like that. I didn't think about that, but it is kind of like that.
He's saying bad things like it's good. That's what I'm hearing.
Well, no, this is a little different than basic training shower. But no, she's right about that. But anyway, it's just a big ass shower.
He lost me the minute he said the ancient aliens actually set this up for him. I went, of course they did.
Yeah, of course they did. Yes, they. You know what because they like to have a lot of. They rent suites according to how much junk's in. I didn't know that. They one of the Prometheus Entertainment told me that. I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Oh, it has to have a lot of stuff in it, so we can move it around and make it look like it's something." And they did, because when I was sitting there watching them, while I was waiting to do my interview, they moved shit around, they moved shelves around, they moved pictures around, they moved little artifacts around. I was like, okay. And I did 8 hours nonstop for 3 minutes on television. It's pathetic, man. It's just sad that they do that to people. But when y'all get rich and famous, y'all got to invite me to watch y'all get interviewed by these crazy people. Prometheus, they got a group out of DC. They keep one of their people out of DC.
So I have a question for John.
Yep.
So we had bookmarks, and I should have had them available so I can kind of show everyone. Those bookmarks were really cool, by the way. I love them. They had the artwork of everyone on there. I didn't realize we were the first year that had each of the stories had their own bookmarks.
That's right.
They were really cool. What we in the writers wanted to know was who picked and how did they pick what the story types were. They were on, so this was not a, hey, you got it all wrong. But I looked at mine. It was hard science, military, and time travel were the three. There had to have been someone in the back. Was that you, John, in the back, trying to figure out what each of the stories were kind of categorized as?
No, it was actually between Maliva and Jody.
Oh, good job.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that was the first time I saw him, and I looked at it, and all of us, I don't know that you all saw us, but the 12 of us were talking to each other and went, oh, yeah. Because Joel and I were not arguing, we were debating if his story was steampunk or not, because I assumed it was steampunk, and he wrote it and did not think it was steampunk. And right when I saw it on the bookmark, I went, see, they said it was, Joel, therefore it's steampunk.
There you go. That's how it works. I forgot. I'm trying to figure out where I got this one from. This was from a couple of years ago, I guess.
Oh.
That's where it went.
That is, who is this? Amy Stewart. I don't even remember an Amy Stewart. I don't even remember that name. It doesn't even sound familiar to me. Maybe I got it when I was at a conference or something. I don't know. People give me a lot of stuff. It's and now she's been here all night. I haven't seen her picture not one time. Not even one time. You know, she's a famous artist, ladies and gentlemen.
Who?
Here. I'm not saying anything, Cherrie. I said you're a famous artist. John said who? I'm staying out of this. I'm just staying out of this. I know she's in this book somewhere. Which page are you on?
It's the one that I showed earlier.
Oh, I didn't see
I'm on, it's minus the last color picture.
The last color picture.
It's right here.
Ta-da.
So why does it look different on yours than in mine?
Is your lighting bad?
I
Yeah,
guess
lighting.
because look at the difference in the color, man. It's
Or
just
your
hard.
printing?
Yeah, I've got a light set to the right
Okay,
temperature.
that's what it is. It's
Or
got to
did
be
Yeah,
you
the
John,
tell the other
can
book?
show the picture because his light's spot on.
Yes.
Yeah, that art reveal was a little more stressful than everyone thinks it was, because
That was great.
when we walked in, what they don't tell you is everybody is sitting in the back, so there's no one between the writers and
Yeah.
all the artwork. And we walk in, and we're now got 12 beautiful pieces of art. Our book has something like 3 or 4, I thought it was 4 time travel based stories. So I'm walking slowly around as I'm trying to figure out, okay, is this mine? No. Is this mine? Maybe, probably not. And I kept going. And it didn't help that mine was the second to last picture. And everyone's like, by the time I get to mine, and I do, John's right, I instantly figure out that it is mine. But by the time I get there, I'm seeing people hugging each other in the back. Everyone's staring at each other. I'm like, holy, I am doing something wrong here. Mine is literally the second to last one on the semicircle that they had. And right when I saw it, I did recognize it immediately. And my first thought was, oh, thank God I did recognize it, because I would have felt horrible if I had to go back to the beginning to figure out which one was mine.
Well, and we weren't allowed to help you. We weren't allowed
Thank
to walk up to you until you stopped at the correct one.
And I did. And right when I stopped, Haley just jumped at me, and I went, because I had met her the night before, so I knew who she was. I had seen her. But it was that moment, because we had 3 time story, and there was the one with a clock, and there was another one. I was like, maybe, just keep walking,
So far, I haven't seen anybody get anything wrong.
Yeah, it's been a standard point of concern, but we haven't had somebody not be able to figure out who their art was yet.
Oh no! Right when I saw it, I knew exactly where it was, and then actually, because I had already read Lauren's, I knew immediately. I went, "Oh, that's Karma Bird's." Right afterwards, and hers was the last one in the semicircle. So I recognized it immediately. But come on, there's 12 pictures, and by the time you get to like 10, you're like, "Am I doing something wrong?"
You should be glad you
What
weren't
am I
here for.
missing?
Yes, you should be glad you weren't here for COVID year. Then there was double that many pictures.
Mm-hmm.
I was surprised nobody got it wrong that year, because there was a lot of pictures in there to look at.
Yeah,
And it's later. It was
2 years worth that one year, because we had to skip a year.
Yes, it was. What did y'all have it on Wednesday? I know Thursday.
Oh, the days all melted.
Oh yeah, well no. See, they moved it up. I thought they moved it up 2 days. It
They
used to be later in the week.
Well, we used to be
I think we had
on
a Monday.
Friday. We used to be on Friday, and then we moved it back to Thursday, and that's worked a bit easier in LA. We're undecided right now. We're doing a review to see, are we going to stay in LA, Hollywood next year, or are we going to go to Cape Canaveral? Because we've got some good lines, with Rob Pryor, because he'll be going up next June. He just got announced. He'll be going up for a week or so in space. And so he's got lots of good relationships there. And so we want to go there and everybody to be able to go see one of the rocket launches, which we haven't done since the late 90s.
I was going to say, you had done that once before, I thought.
We did.
Yep.
Yeah. Where we
Yeah,
were there.
I know it's one of Joni's favorites, because she tells me about it when we're talking about it.
Yeah. It was really good too, because you got some of our judges no longer with us, but who are like Jack Williamson. He had been writing about going into space since the 1920s, and he'd never seen an actual rocket launch. So when he was there, even though he was like maybe 90 years old, it was like a little kid, just like seeing the sparkle. And then other judges as well. That was the first time I met Harry Kloor, who's one of our guests that was there at the gala. He's been almost every year. He's a guest, and he was a keynote speaker 20 years ago or so. I think he's the only person that's ever gotten 2 PhDs at the same time in science. So he's one of those brainiacs. But no, it was pretty exciting. We were there on a little knoll on a little island, or not an island, but on an inlet, and surrounded on 3 sides by swamp. And so the signs are posted, stay clear from the edges because of alligators and snakes. And we all had to put on just like gobs of mosquito repellent. And so we were there. But what was the best part about it was you hear the countdown and the loudspeakers, 10, 9, 8, you hear it down. And then when you'd feel that the rumble, it was just like the ground was shaking, your body was shaking, your stomach was shaking, just from that much force from the whichever space shuttle it was taking off. And then I've been watching since the 60s, been watching, the space, race that was happening. They're going to the moon in 69. And you've got all the replays. So like a space launch will last for like 10 minutes, but in real life, 30 seconds, 40 seconds, it's out of there, it's gone. And it's like, wow, what a different thing in reality. But it was so cool just feeling that the countdown and the whole thing there was just so special.
It is great to watch.
It again next year. We're uncertain. We're working out the budgets between both ways and weighing.
When are we going to know?
Well, we're doing the budgets right now, and then we're going to have to propose it to see, because there's other things that aren't going to happen if we go there. Like right now, you saw I have between 20 and 30 media at our event. I don't have those types of relationships in Florida. We had 300 people at our thing, because we have a lot of people around here that are in science fiction community in Los Angeles, whereas in Cape Canaveral, we have some people in Tampa, but there's not a whole lot. That's in a very southern tip of Florida. It's not, when we did it before, it was a very smaller audience. Mm-hmm. So we got the trade-off on that, how's that going to be, to do it like celebrate, So anyway, that's what we're checking right now. Emily's the one that's putting together the proposal to compare the two. So we'll know next week or two, the feasibility of that. And then then to propose it, the whole planning and budget then to the organization that maintains over in Hubbard's.
Now you can cheat on the press if they do a shot like the day you get there, because then the press would be introduced to y'all and they would want to know what was going on. So a lot of them would probably still hang out and stay around and come and go during the week in the gala, because they'd be interested, that's for sure. But if they don't know you, they're not, they're going to just do their
exactly
thing.
Plus we have a lot
but being there on the day they shoot it would make a difference. Besides, it might be when Elon goes to Mars. He's planning on shooting one to Mars next year.
Yeah, well, I don't think it's going to be in April. So
probably not. Probably later in the year.
Yeah. Anyway, so Dan, so when do I get to have you as a guest on the podcast with your novel?
I still like writing short stories, so I do remember having a conversation with Mark Leslie while we're out there about what would it take to, take short stories and turning them into something. So I'm still trying to figure out what those, my winning, and everyone says this when they come onto the show, is I did not see this coming at all. I thought genuinely that Joni was playing a prank somehow, a cruel, evil prank on me. So I think for the next year, I'm still going to work on short stories and then try to tell the short stories. But after talking to Mark Leslie out there, who was fantastic. I loved talking to him while we were there, particularly during BarCon and later on. Of, hey, well, if they don't sell, how do you turn those things into something that can be combined to sell? So I don't know the answer to your question immediately but I am certainly looking at what does that actually mean for me.
Yeah. Well, I'm starting year number 6 in the podcast. So maybe year 7,
And
year 8.
he's doing pretty good these days too.
But I'm out getting ready for Cherrie as soon as she wins the writer contest, and she's going to be a special guest on talking about one of those rare breeds.
Yeah, how do you win
both?
Yeah, I am completely. I heard something that Joe was saying earlier about criticizing, artists that do work, or how do you critique that? And I remember thinking I have always been reluctant to critique too much because they are doing something that I can't do normally. So critiquing anyone on something I can't do seems to be kind of eh.
I agree with that.
But having someone that could do 2, that's beyond me. Again, if it was up to me, there would be a stick figure. This is my story. Thank goodness for Haley Enriquez to make that not a stick figure.
I can't even draw a stick figure, dude. So don't knock it.
Well, unlike you, I was in the Army, so I need pictures. I need something that tells me face towards enemy, and then I'm usually pretty good.
It's yeah, that'll work. I don't know. I can't. I've never tried. When I was young, I used to doodle on everything. I realized at a very young age, this ain't gonna happen. Like we tried all because we used to play them games where you had to draw stuff to play the games. Nope, just not my talent. As far as writing goes, I could probably get a book or 2 out, but I'm too lazy to do it. It's too much work, man. How do y'all do this? You got to write the whole damn thing. You got to edit the thing. You got to go back. And my spelling is so lousy to start off with. And if I use machines, I got such a coon-ass accent that.
You know that saying about eating an elephant, Joe? one bite at a time. That's how you write a novel too. One bite at a time.
It does come down to persistency of just constantly doing it. I'm a huge believer in atomic habits. I wouldn't be able to do all the things I'm doing if it wasn't for something like that allows me to kind of focus on the different aspects. But persistency more than anything. There was a question that John had asked earlier that I was kind of contemplating while I was in the backstage there, and that was, what did you get out of L. Ron Hubbard and his experience? And one of the things that really kind of struck me was something I tried to produce on the stage, but when you're on stage, I hate the camera being on me, is the idea that in order to write stories, you actually have to live. In other words, do something, do things, be outgoing. And that is not just sitting there in your own room being afraid to go out and try new things. And so it really does kind of come down to, well, what am I actually doing now? What's the new best thing? The one advantage of the award, for example, is it actually paused me because I was doing writing, and then I was like, all right, if this doesn't succeed, I'll just go on to my next new adventure and try something completely new. Mainly because I think you said earlier, Joe, hey, we only have so much time here. Sure. We're going to do that time. And to be a writer in my mind and to be an artist in my time right now, it is having a lot more experience at doing different things, seeing different things, and experiencing different things that allows you to write and draw in a way that's a little more compelling.
That's good.
I'm curious about your process.
Lots of thinking.
When you're writing a short story, do you binge write? Do you sit down and you're just going to knock out a story in a couple days or in a day? Or are you the kind of writer that is going to pace yourself over a long period of time?
So it's kind of a trickier question. So during during another interview, I call it a boot camp. tell Emily I didn't mean to call it a boot camp. During our
It can be fun. It's okay, Emily.
So during our time, we had to write a story in 24 hours. And what that really forced me to do was kind of go through my process in a much more collapsed period of time. The exercise itself didn't bother me. Everyone was really fretting over it. The exercise itself is, I've had more deadlines in my life than 24 hours. So that was the easy part. It did kind of highlight and allow me to focus on, hey, what is my process? And what I found that I did was I spent about a fourth of my time thinking and jotting notes down. There were pictures of us sitting in it. We found a nice little clove, and we were able to kind of write through things. But everyone kept noticing I got up, walked around the entire mall, came back down, wrote some more notes, got up, walked around, because I'm trying to piece everything together. And then I just kind of put everything onto a paper. And then I start putting in some of the extra pieces, bits and pieces, what that would actually look like. That's why I appreciated the 24 hours, because without that, I don't know that I would have really understood what my process was. I just would have kept doing things. But it did kind of make me go, oh, that's what I've been doing this entire time. So it's usually thinking, and the danger part about thinking in my mind was, ooh, we could sit there and overthink something and have paralysis analysis and not put anything on paper. So it's usually kind of bounded. Put something on paper after a period of time, and then start kind of cleaning that up.
Cool. How's that compared to your process, Cherrie, as a writer?
So I consider myself a pantser more than a plotter. So I will be inspired by some sort of idea, and I will start writing it as soon as I am able to get in front of the computer. And usually it starts with something that is sort of theme-based, like it's a concept of some kind. So I'll have concept, I'll have maybe loose setting that kind of comes with it, and the feeling of a character, but I really don't know who they are yet. And then I sit down and I go from there, and the character and all of that kind of springs out of the writing as I go. And the only kind of plotting that I ever do is kind of involuntary, where, say you're driving and you can't write, and so then my brain will just start playing the story, and the characters will talk to each other, and I'm like, okay, yeah, as soon as I can write it, I will. Yeah, so it sounds somewhat similar, somewhat different. Yeah.
Well, I considered my process a little more what I would call WWE style. I know based off of what you're saying, hey, what are these kind of big plot points that I want to have, like a wrestler does? I don't go into the details to start writing, but much like a WWE competition, right? I kind of have an idea of the major points I need to kind of get across. And then I sit down and go, all right, so it's neither pantser or plotter, it's somewhere in between.
Right. Yeah. And that's a similarity point. I only have those plot points when my mind runs ahead of me and I'm busy, I can't write. So yeah, then you'll get that, oh, this is going to happen. So then sometimes I'll just go and I'll stick that in a note. I'm like, we know this is going to happen. Or I'll make it a file in Scrivener. Like, we know we're going to hit these points in some way eventually. Yeah. So.
One thing about, I don't know if you read in the one Ron the Writer, the coffee table book that everybody was given. There's different things in there where Hubbard talks about himself as, writing. And so his composition speed was about 92 words a minute. And so he would, he said, for me, I've always been a writer. I love to write, I just, word weary with my fingers down to the nubs, just typing. But he was just, A.E. Van Vogt, another famous Pulp Fiction writer, watched him write once, and he said he put the paper in, he just looked towards the wall, and he just started typing and he said that, the story would play out in his mind, and he'd be typing it And it got to the point where he's able to do that. I mean, obviously, if he's writing 100,000 words a month, he was able to build up 1 million words pretty fast. But he was, for him, it was like he would submit his stuff as he got to where he would be able to. They say, okay, I need from the magazine. Okay, I need a 5,000 word. Okay, I need 3,500. I need 7,000, and then he could write 2 requests. So he could write a 7,000 word story or a 5,000 word story, and take it all the way to the beginning, type it, and then submit it. And he said it was about 90% acceptance rate, first submission. And it was for him, it was a just something that he built because he just wrote so much, and that's his whole thing. And a lot of the famous writers would say, like, a writer writes. The way you get better is by writing, not by just keep on redoing something you've already done. You just go, okay, what's your next story? Your next story? Your next story? Dean Wesley Smith is similar to that as an author. He didn't make it this year. Hopefully he'll make it next year. But he told me earlier on when he wanted to be able to emulate Hubbard with his writing style. And so Dean writes 100,000 words a month, and with his own magazine that he does, and with books. And he just does that. And for him, what he said was, the more you edit it, the more it gets polished. And then it becomes like every other polished story. It loses its uniqueness, like when you polish a rock. It starts off, it's got its edges and its various angles, hard angles and stuff like that. When you polish it and it gets all nice and smooth, it looks like every other polished, smooth rock. So for him, it's important just to get where you're able to write. And when you write enough, you get your grammar down, you get your ability to, you do your spell check, obviously, and stuff, but then you do that. And then you just go on to the next story, because that story is unique that way. But you have to trust yourself too as a writer, having written enough to be able to do that. But he wrote Battlefield Earth, which was 425,000 words in 8 months, and then he went the next year and wrote Mission Earth, also in 8 months, and that was 1.2 million words. So he could and they were all New York Times bestsellers, all 11 books. So there you go, Dan.
That's the formula for you to follow.
But just, he knew where he wanted to go, but he wasn't a plotter,
Yep.
He let the story, and so he talked about sometimes how a character would just take over, like, whoa, where's he taking me now? And that's an interesting thing where he talked about that too. Just sometimes a character, you want to have him, he needs to go in the store, and all of a sudden he turned around and he went into the movie theater. Well, let's see what he's going to do now, and he talked about how that would happen too with his characters as he's writing stories.
Like in Typewriter in the Sky.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So a lot of my stories, I kind of take a slightly different approach in so much as I usually, much like Cherrie, I have a cool concept in mind, but really I try to kind of use science fiction as a hyperbolization of real life choices that we have to make. So in Storm Damage, for example, while we have time travel and we have, what's kind of going on and what's the government doing with, ultimately it kind of comes down to someone having to make a choice of what are you willing to lose to save everyone else. I was kind of struck by a verse in the Bible in which the devil tempts Jesus on, I'll give you everything if you make just this one choice. And I went, how many of us would actually make the right choice? I mean, we all say we will, but in reality, would we? And one of the reasons I was surprised I won was, well, these stories are more cerebral, more, I hate to say Black Mirror, but kind of more Black Mirror-ish in thought of, we have an ability with science fiction, with fantasy, to start talking about normal human conditions in a way that you wouldn't be able to get away with in normal fiction or even in nonfiction. And Rod Serling said as much as when he started working on Twilight Zone.
Yeah, I interviewed, what's the name? He's the one that did he did the book on Rod Serling, and he went through and did a documentary on it. And he just said, where Rod Serling started at Twilight Zone because he couldn't get the stories approved by the networks because they're too controversial. So he put it into a science fiction setting, which is what happened with Star Trek.
Yep.
With so much science fiction was that, you take it and put it into another world, and so you could talk about religious issues, morality issues, ethnic issues. Because if it's someplace else, then we're not talking about us. We're talking about, and some people are unable to see any corollary. Okay, fine. But those that can, because, oh, wow, that's interesting to see how those problems resolve in another environment.
Yep. And so a friend of mine, actually, when he read Storm Rangers before I submitted it, he said, "Where are the ray guns?" And I went, not all science fiction has to have ray guns, man. Right. Sometimes it's just a matter of what's happening.
Hey, I want my damn ray guns, man. What are you talking about?
Well, that's why when Hubbard was brought into Street and Smith, when they brought him into their offices in New York, science fiction was only rocket ships and ray guns, and there was no people. And because he was an adventure writer, he and another author named Burke were brought in and told, okay, John W. Campbell was just brought in as the editor of Astounding Science Fiction and was told to publish whatever they submitted because they needed to get people into science fiction, and that's what they did. And so so that's why the adventure writers started changing the direction of science fiction to make it more people-centric and talking about issues that people were instrumental to.
Yeah, you had asked earlier about did we get out of that trip to the L. Ron Hubbard Museum?
Yeah,
well, there was a lot of really cool things in there, but to be fair, some of it we had already heard before, and many science fiction writers definitely know who L. Ron Hubbard is and what all that meant. What I did not fully appreciate was what you just said, and it was brought up while we were in there, and that was science fiction was originally seen only as robots, aliens coming to Earth, and until L. Ron Hubbard came on, they deliberately hired him to, hey, can you make this a people thing? And so if you start taking a look at pulp fiction, comics, sci-fi during the 50s and 60s, what we now call diesel punk, those type of movies, or those type of genre, it was an idea of, hey, can we tell human stories using science fiction as a kind of a backdrop for our fears of what's going on, for our worries about what's going on with the Cold War? Can it be some type of allegory for those type of events? And the answer was absolutely it could.
Right. And a good writer could make a convincing story that would enable the reader to suspend their disbelief to enjoy the story. It was also realized too during Pulp Fiction time, it was right after the Great Depression. You had the Spanish flu, you had World War I, and people were devastated. Half the country of the United States was out of work. The other half was in fear of losing their job. So you also had what Pulp Fiction provided was that is called escapist fiction. And so people would read it, and for a little bit, they could identify with those characters, which is one thing that Hubbard excelled at. In fact, even Heinlein said, I learned that there's a new type of storyline that I didn't know existed before, which was the person that learned better. So whether it's male or female, it was like they'd start off not necessarily being the right side of the law or the right side of doing what's best, coming up to some type of a crossroads and making the decision to do the right thing. And that's something that was added into the science fiction, the fantasy, that was going on then. So you saw a lot of those types of stories that started happening that America needed. They needed the type of stuff because you needed that escapist, but it was like something that you could identify with as a reader. And so that's why it was so popular. It was the most popular form of entertainment then for that time period before TV started kicking in the 50s. And you had also the radio theater, which you saw when we did that. Some of our judges, that's their favorite part of the whole week. And they come out Rob Sawyer says, that's the best part for me is that radio theater every week, every year.
Yeah, I really enjoy it myself.
So one of the things that I definitely got out of all that was when we started talking to some of the beta readers about Writers of the Future Volume 41. This one did seem to have be a little more. I think one of the readers said a lot more cerebral. There was a lot more of these kind of questioning type of stories, like ASCII, which gosh darn it, he beat me for the golden pin. But a well-written story about even AI starting to ask those very kind of human questions of what does the future look like, and what does it mean for me, and what does it mean for the rest of us. So I'm hoping to see more of that come out of science fiction and fantasy. And as much as I like escapism, and there's a lot of really cool escapism coming out of science fiction and fantasy, I'm really drawn to the more cerebral, more, hey, what does this actually mean to us as a society?
I feel like popularizing it is part of our job, and definitely part that Writers of the Future putting out stories like this very cerebral volume that we have it's going to do some of that work, because there are definitely cerebral works of sci-fi being put out there, but harder to find because they are not as popular. They're not catching the public eye as easily. I mean, the percentage of readers that are the sci-fi readers, and then an even smaller percentage are the ones reading the cerebral sci-fi as opposed to military or the mixed genre, various different ones.
Yeah. Well, definitely right now, both you, Dan, and you, Cherrie, and then all the other winners too, we provide a platform right now, and we're continuing to do that to help launch your careers, but also to sell your, what you're doing, to convince people like, hey, you want to be able to take advantage of this. And one of the things that's important to do is, okay, well, what else has he written? What else has she written? What else have they done? Because if we get somebody say, yeah, I really like this story, and just realize too, Dan, yours is the first story in this book. And when you put together an anthology, the first story is done that's the one that you want to be able to hook the reader into the anthology. So whether or not you're the grand prize winner or not, you're the first story, which is an amazing testament to you, because this is what we're counting on to hook people into this anthology. So we have faith in you as an author that we're doing this, and in the story. So you are going to find as the people like, wow, that's a great story. What else has he written? That's in your court. So that's why I'm saying this. Whether you're going to do more short stories is fine. Cradle of Mars. Okay, Cherrie.
These are my books. This is my science fiction series. Let's see if I can. That's not going to work. We'll hold them up. So it's a 4-book series, the Primogenitor series, Cradle of Mars, Breach of Mars, Crowning of Mars, and Futures of Mars. And the artwork on the covers is all my art as well. So this is my illustration and my writing.
Okay, why don't I have these books? I'm like a big freak about Mars.
Why don't you have them yet, Joe? Why don't you have them?
I didn't even know they had them till just now. You gotta tell me stuff like this.
Are they available on Amazon, Cherrie?
They're all.
But you know what? The cover looked really familiar for some reason.
Yeah.
Oh no, the CL on the bottom looked really familiar. The whole name looked familiar for some reason. I don't know why. It's like I've seen it somewhere before.
Yeah.
Now you're gonna have to send me a thing so I can look at these dang books.
I have to send you something.
We can send you the link so you can buy them from Amazon.
I'm a big freak on my pay. Look, if you send it, look, they stay right here. See,
Okay,
that's
good.
what happens when they're free. They stay there forever.
If you buy the book, you can
Send me a
support
link. Send me a link. It's
John's looking out for me. Buy him, Joe. Buy him.
Exactly.
It's
We'll
but anyway,
send you a signed copy too.
Yeah, send me a signed copy and send me a link. So I'll probably buy a couple. Mars has always been a weird thing for me. Anything in space has been weird. Anything near now science is also. All that stuff is like candy to me. I can't get enough of it. And these days, since I don't get, you got to do audiobooks there.
Actually, this one, I have an audiobook in production currently. The actress who is, Blossom, the Powerpuff Girl. but also, have you guys seen American Tail and like Five Will Goes West, those old movies?
Mm-hmm.
So
I've seen one of them.
she's the voice of Tanya Mauskowitz too. Anyway, so she's doing the audio for
That's
my
cool.
audio. Yeah.
Good.
So it'll be out sometime this year. Probably a couple months. The audio.
Audio books are so much better. I don't want to hate on anybody. I know it's starting to rise. I've been telling people for years. Y'all said audiobooks one of these days will take over. It's so much easier. And then as now that you can turn your house into a computer, so I can actually program my intercom system in my house now with any audiobook I want. It will read through. I can walk through my whole house and listen to the book. It is fucking fabulous. Is what it is. Matter of fact, I had to go back and re-listen to 2 chapters of the first chapter, the first book, and the last 2 books of Mission Earth. I had to go back and listen to it. So when I put the new system in, I plugged it in so I could listen to them. My wife is like, "You gonna turn that off?" I'm like, "No," but you can turn off each room if you want. I just got it on. I just walked through the house. That way I'm listening to it the whole time. I got intercoms down on my deck outside and underneath my house. So anywhere I'm going, I can be listening. I don't even have to carry my pad or my phone anymore. It just plays it. It's so nice. Because I get like 2 minutes of time to read anymore. If I'm not doing shows, I'm doing something else. Or John's a slave driver, man. He's always wanting something. Damn. And
it's helpful for a busy lifestyle. It is.
Yes, it is. And if he's not, Michelle's a real pain in the butt. Oh my God, the girl always wants something. But she's the boss, so I guess I got to be nice to her. But still, I told her somebody's giving her shit the other night, and I was like, "They're like, is she gonna fire me? Only you can fire, right?" I said, "No, she does all the hiring and firing. You done messed up. You done picked with the wrong person." They're like, I'm like, "Yeah, she does all the firing and hiring." I said, "I don't have anything to do with any of that. She's even in charge of anyway in the direction the station's going. Actually, the 2 stations are going. So she's not just in charge of one; she's actually in charge of 2 stations because we're building 2 stations as we're completing one. We're building 2. So y'all on United Public Radio, and this show will always be on United Public Radio. But we also own UFO Paranormal Radio Network. We own both of them. And UFO Paranormal has been around for 24 years. Mm-hmm. It's so we decided to put it back in full commission because when it's in full commission, it'll always be like the first 4 links when you type in UFO radio or paranormal radio or anything to do with that. So we had taken it down for a while because we just went to United Public for a while because I wanted guests, frankly, there weren't aliens. Or ghosties. I wanted to talk to people that weren't aliens or ghosties. So, and ask them like a mayor or a governor or a politician or anybody. It's important to come on a show on a network called UFO Paranormal Radio on a show called UFO Undercover. They just kind of look at you like, "Sure, we're coming there. Just hold your breath, buddy. We'll be there. We'll be there." So that's how it all started out. So anyway,
that was the link that I had to share, Joe, was the UFO and paranormal one. I'm like, all right, I'm going to share this, and everyone's going to be like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah, what are you talking about? Yeah, that's because United, for some reason, in YouTube's infinite wisdom, they took our United Public page down, which made about $7,000 a month. They just took it down one day. Didn't even give us a reason why. Just said you're banned. I'm like, wait, we didn't even have any strikes. Nope, don't care. Took them to court. They paid out. I think it was 100 a quarter, 114 actually. And I still won't give me the page back there. And that's the weird part. They gave me this page back and International Public Radio back. It's like every so often they feel a need to ban us off of YouTube.
Weird.
Yeah. Obviously, I pissed somebody off over there somewhere along the line.
Obviously.
Hopefully they have, now that I got these pages back, hopefully they have gone on to wherever they've gone to. We don't have to deal with them anymore. Cherrie, we're getting ready to go. Wait, look, what did you send me on my phone? What question did you send me? I don't see any questions. You're cracking up, chick. What? No, indeed not. The question was, what movie would you pick that would most likely get man to enlighten himself? Really? We don't answer. Okay, we're not new aging today. I mean, if you want to answer it, you can. But I'm just kind of like, what movie? I don't even know a movie that would.
Okay, here. I'm just gonna throw out Slingshot. It makes you think a lot.
Okay.
Science fiction.
What movie? What was the question?
That would make, what movie would you recommend that would make people guests be more enlightened, or help us to be more enlightened as a species. I would say Princess Bride, but anyway.
Odds are I was completely thrown with the original, the Matrix, only because the idea it combined PKD, Philip K. Dick's theories with the idea of what is subjective and what is objective reality, and then
Right.
how are we able to control that reality around ourselves?
We're picking similar themes. So Slingshot, they send they're going on this trip. I can't remember where we were going. We were going to Venus or Jupiter or something. And okay, fine. We're going to one of the moons of Saturn, I'm told. Anyway, the character has to go into cryogenic freeze multiple times, basically, and then wake back up. And it begins to affect their sanity. And the movie wants you to question your sanity. So it's powerful. It's well done. So
Good. People need to question their damn sanity.
How do you know what's real? That's
well, we have people on the network who do those those help you enlighten yourself kind of things. I'm like, I don't need to be enlightened. I'm enlightened enough, to be honest with you. And then we also do have some new people on that do like if you're trying to promote stuff. We got matter of fact, he's ex-Marine. It's all he used to do for the Marines besides kill people. He used to promote for the Marines, all their movies, all their books, everything. I didn't realize they had that much stuff to read for the damn Marines. Apparently they're literate. I didn't know that.
No?
Yeah, I got you all, you Marines, in one shot.
I'm not a Marine. I was Army.
I'm not either. I'm Navy.
I won't take that hit.
It's only for the
I was
Marines,
military
man.
intelligence, so I'm really not taking
That's actually what he. That's actually what he really was. But
yeah,
one
we
of the things he
had
did for me-
Marines in my training as well.
yes, I was in the Navy, so I didn't have to deal with none of that. I just blew shit up. Actually, I didn't even do that. I just made the stuff that blew shit up. That's what I did. I just made sure it worked. Kimberly, we got to go. No, you can find both of these. Cherrie, why don't you give them your website right quick for you, or your Facebook?
CL4sillustrator.com is my website. There's also CL4author.com. Both of those are places you can find me.
She's like the Fours from that movie. I remember that movie with the chick with the name Fours. Oh my God. Damn. I'm sorry, Cherrie. I can't remember the name of her, I tell you. Damn, any place you want to tell them to go or hang out, or
It must have been me. I'm just already that famous, I guess.
it was a really famous movie, and the lead character's name was Fours. That was her name, but I can't for the life of me. It's just not the name's just not coming to my head. I'm sorry, Dan. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
Yeah, you can find me at trnaus.com. All my socials are on there.
Yes, I like the TR better.
And you can find them both right here in Hubbard Presents Writers, the feature volume 41. The beginning story is by Dan Naus, and
it's a fantastic story.
Second to last illustration, or the last illustration, is from Cherrie.
Yes.
On the story, if I'm not mistaken, was the last story of the novel of the book, because that was a phenomenal story and picture. I loved it.
Exactly.
Thank you, Dan.
Yeah, but if you haven't got the book, you have to get it. It's easy to go. Just it's up. It's for sale now. You don't even have to pre-order anymore. Just go buy the book over at Amazon or Galaxy Press.
Barnes and Noble, yeah, wherever you find it.
Wherever there's a book sold, you can get it.
It's been a bestseller in all three formats.
Yeah. We were number one in audiobook, number one in paperback, and number one in trade paperback in science fiction anthology. So that was pretty awesome.
It's a good book to read. People, it's a good book to buy as a gift. Actually, you know, I know it's early. We ain't to the holidays yet, but you know how I am. It really will be a good book for. I mean, all the anthologies are really good for gifts. I say because there's lots of good stories in there, and it's not just the 12 stories from the winners. There's stories in there from the judges, and there's artwork from the judges, and other little things you can find in different books are different. But I've been there for 6 of them. I've read 12 now, I think, all together, and so far I've enjoyed all of them. I enjoy the stories, and I even enjoy the way the stories are put together. At least in these 6 books, I really enjoy the way the stories are put together. Shh, do not tell Maliva that. Shh. Don't tell it. Her head's already as big as it is, man. We don't need to make it any bigger. Oh Lord.
She's
But I
doing
really
phenomenal
try to.
work.
She does. She does a great job. It's one of the reasons I like to pick on her because she's and she puts up with it too, which is amazing. Y'all don't know Malia. The people are not even going to try to explain who she is. If you want to know who she is, you're going to have to win, or donate that $1 million to John. Like I said, he'll invite you as a guest. Either way, I mean, you know, it's like coming to the United States now, $5 million. I mean, you know, same thing with Writers of the Future. Give him $1 million, he'll invite you. No, you don't get to win now. You just get to come visit. You still got to submit to win. Whoever posted that, no, that was not funny. You still got to submit to win. But if you can come as a guest, $1 million. I think that's a good amount. He'll at least look at it. Anyway, we got to get out of here.
It's been great seeing you again, Cherrie and Dan.
You too, John.
Yeah,
I always love having you here. But guys and girls, we're gonna.
both
Thanks,
not
Joe.
in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah. I
Yes,
can't wait to
we
see
are
y'all.
Dragon Con.
And everybody listening tonight, come to Dragon Con. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Say John and Joe sent you. Say John, Joe, Dan, and Cherrie sent you. Say whatever. Just come to Dragon Con and come hang out. I'll be there. There'll be a lot of fun people there. And a lot of good food, just hang out. I wouldn't advise drinking because there's a lot of walking. You're just going to stay sober. So it's just wasting your money. But come down, have a good time, eat some food, visit with the winners, buy some stuff. And it's not just that you can visit with these guys, but there is so much other stuff to do there. Literally, I got lost like 3 times. Matter of fact, I found some little empty chicky thingy to guide me through like
So
2.
aren't we finishing the show?
Yes, but I just got to tell this. I mean, she was like this tall. She was dressed up like a little fairy, and I said, "How do you get through this?" And she said, "Oh, me and my friend will show you." And her boyfriend was like 6'9". She's like 4'11". It was anyway. It was too funny. He was dressed up as Bigfoot, and she was dressed up as a little fairy girl. But they really knew their way around the hotel. So I'll tell you that much. That made my life easy. But on that note, we got to go, guys and girls. Be sure to come and hang out with us. And we will see you. Well, I'll see y'all in 20 minutes because I'll be on the chat with Jay and the boys causing trouble and the girls causing trouble. And, there's 2 females and 4.
That's best.
Yes, causing trouble. Well, I get to curse. I don't get to curse. Anyway, good night. And we'll see y'all next week.
Okay, bye-bye.